Shalom, family, and welcome back to the Kingdom of Israel. All right, so I do have another one for you today for Prophecy 2026 as we talk about the truth about the real Israel, as we look at the fact that the children of Israel, they are still out there, okay? Scattered abroad. So we're not talking about the state of Israel. We're not talking about those folks, but we're going to deal with the truth about Israel. Okay. Um, so, we don't deal with religion. Thank you all for coming into the live. We don't deal with religion. And our aim or focus is to deal more with the heritage of the people. We also look at the hidden meaning in the word, as most folks want to deal with it from the standpoint of what's literal. And this is why a lot of it is not understood. We go into the hidden meaning, okay? And we give understanding as to how it applies to our life today so that it makes sense. All right. So we're not dealing with no one's religion as it pertains to Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. We're not focused on any of that, but we're going to read passages from out of the Bible, and we're going to look at those passages in the sense of the hidden meaning as it pertains to our character, our behavior, and things that we can do to better ourselves based on what's written. So I say this too as we talk about the truth about Israel. We're not dealing with the state of Israel. As we see in the picture above, we have your President Trump standing there looking confused, and you have Netanyahu, in anger, and he's chasing their image of a white Jesus. All of these things are centered around deception. All of what they've positioned before us based on religion, it's made to control, our people and people abroad. Their religions are centered around control, maintaining European superiority. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the real children of Israel that are still out there and scattered abroad. And here you have those within a state of Israel that are positioning themselves to be this people of antiquity. I'm not the only one that stands and, I'm confused. How can it be? But through deception, yes, they continue to parade around as if they belong in that region and in that land. So we're still dealing with one more from Prophecy 2026 series as we get off into the truth about Israel. Thank you all for coming into the live. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. Once again, it's not about religion, Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the real people, the real children of Israel, the real descendants that are still spread abroad, as you call the diaspora. They're out there. Okay? So we're going to go off and we're going to start here with Lamentations 4:17. As it says, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. So for the real children of Israel, there's no help in the world as far as bringing them back to their original position and or place. even here in the US, as more and more privileges are being taken away from those that have gotten comfortable. They've gotten comfortable in the oppression, dealing with the affliction. It says, in our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So while you all are looking, for someone to come and save you, there's no nation, there's no people that's going to come and help us deal with this situation we have. It said that's vain. It said that's vain help. As we're watching and we're asking why someone doesn't come and help our people here in America as we deal with the affliction, as we deal with the oppression. There is no help. Ezekiel 39:19. Thank you all for coming into the live. Hey, share the live and repost the live. Okay. He says, and I scattered them among the heathen. So the real children of Israel are scattered among other nations. He says, and they were dispersed through countries. This is what you call the diaspora. And they're still dispersed. They're not in the land at this point in time. They have nothing to do with the state of Israel. In fact, within the biblical writings, it does not talk about a state of anything. This is how you can come to understand who is perpetrating a fraud. He says, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their ways, according to their doings. He said, I judged them. We're in this position and or place because of something we did or something we're not doing. In 20, and when they entered unto the heathen, the other nations, talking about the real children of Israel, he says, whether they went, they profaned my holy name. So now when we look at the holy name, here you have a people that were so dear to the Creator. They decided to follow after other nations and abandon their own heritage. And that holy name became profane because we were no longer dealing within the upright principles and or the standard or way of life that we were given that was meant for us as a people within a heritage. He says, when they said unto them, these are the people of the Lord. So it's like folks are now looking at us like there's no way that this can be the real children of Israel. Look at them. Look at how they act. Look at how they talk. Look at the music they make. Look at the things that they're involved in. He says, and are gone forth out of the land. So we're out of the land. And those people that are over there in the land right now, these are not the true descendants of Jacob, of the 12 tribes, of Judah. He says, but I had pity for my holy name, meaning there's still something good that's going to come from us, although we've fallen. He says, but I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen. And when we talk about the house of Israel, we're not talking about Netanyahu and his cronies and the state of Israel. We're talking about the real children of Israel, those that are still scattered abroad and amongst other nations. He said, therefore I say unto the house of Israel, not the state of Israel, but to the true people, thus saith the Lord God, thus say the standards of righteousness, thus say the law. This is what's written. He said, I do not this for your sakes, like this ain't because of you, but this is because I chose you. And because I chose you, I can't let you fail. He says, O house of Israel, not the state of Israel, but the true children of Israel. He said, but for my holy name's sake, meaning this law, these principles, which ye have profaned among the heathen. That's how you know it's about law and principles, because this is the thing that we refuse to do. And because we've taken ourselves by the custom, the traditions, and the laws of the other people, we suffer. It's just that simple. Number 23, he says, and I will sanctify my great name. In sanctifying his great name, he's saying that his word, his standard, his law, it's going to be resurrected. It's going to be put back into position and or place, because you can see as we deal with these people today, their standards, their rules, their laws, their ways, it's destroying everything. Nothing good is coming from their leadership. Nothing. I will sanctify my great name. I'm going to clean it up, which was profaned among the other nations, among the heathen, abandoned. He said, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, meaning we failed to do it because it was given to us. And we threw it in the trash to chase after folly. He said, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord. The other nations are going to realize what the true principles are and the standards in life that need to transpire in order to heal the earth and the people abroad. Because what they're doing, it doesn't work. You've heard me say, the water's polluted, the air's polluted, the food's polluted. Everything is corrupt in their hands. Nobody can figure out what to do, but you keep following them blindly. He says, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord, meaning this is what's written. He said, when I shall be sanctified in you. Who is he talking about? In you. Is that the everybody that they teach within Christianity? Within the lies of the religion that they push around to maintain European superiority? He says, I shall be sanctified in you. He's talking about that children of Israel that have been forgotten, that have been scattered abroad, that have profaned his name or have not lived according to his standards, that are returning to these standards. He says he's going to do this before their very eyes. He says, for I will take you from among the other nations. It ain't happened yet. That's how you know those people that are over in what they call the state of Israel, these are not the real people, because this event has not happened yet. I will take you from among the other nations, from among the heathen, and gather you from out of all the countries. That hasn't happened yet. This is an indication that they are liars. All of them. They are liars. He says, and will bring you into your own land. Now, I'm talking about the children of Israel. For those of you that are out there and you feel as if you're in your own land, no problem. This is speaking to those that have been scattered abroad, those that are displaced. This is talking about the children of Israel. Lamentations 4:1. How is the gold become dim? He's saying, how did this great people become so dull? How did they fall off? And this is what we're trying to understand as we expose or deal with the truth about Israel. A real people. They still exist in this day and time today. But the imposters, those that are posing to be the true children of Israel, they've given it a bad name. And now when you say Israel, folks feel some kind of way about it because of the corruption of these deceivers, these liars. But don't be confused and don't diminish the truth within who the true people of Israel are against these fakers, against these thieves. How has the gold become dim? Remember Psalms 82:6, he says, I have said, ye are gods. Oh, you can't say that in the religion. What do you mean? You are a God. What are you saying? But this is what's written about the true children, the people that are descendants of Jacob, that have been chosen for the promise. What promise? What are you talking about? Right now we have the world in the hand of the wicked. But the world should be turned to the hand of the righteous in order to be ruled properly. Oh, you all don't seem to have any problem with the Europeans ruling the world, but as we're talking about the return of the heir for those who are meant to rule the world in righteousness, why are you mad? If the Creator has already chosen a particular way or standard for the world to be ruled, why are you why are you against that? Thank you all for coming into the live. Why are you against it? He said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Now, it says all of you, and somebody want to put themselves in there. Well, listen, you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You are either the children of Israel or you're not, because there are all types of nations and people that are out here. This conversation is specific for those that understand that they are scattered abroad. They are of the diaspora. They are oppressed and afflicted, and they're still in the land of their captivity. Everybody doesn't feel that way. Everybody doesn't feel as if they're an Israelite. Okay, no problem. Then be who you are and or what you are. But this conversation is specific to those that understand that they are the children of Israel. That though for those that want to know the truth about Israel, because Israel is still a people. They're still out there. They just go by other names. They fall under different nationalities. But they have nothing to do with the state of Israel. Said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes, because we refused, we have rebelled against our own nature. Lamentations 4:1, and it continues after it said, how is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? How have we changed from a great status, from royalty, to where we are now, just totally destroyed? Because we've abandoned the true principles upon which were given to us to live and to rule and to stand within righteousness. And because we wanted to follow after the other nations and do and be and sing and eat and do all these things, then we've become changed. We've become less. We've diminished our stature. How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out into the top of every street. Do you understand what this is saying? We've gone from being royalty to just thrown out in the streets. Simply because we want to be like them. And because we want to be like them, then that means they get to rule over us. Still to this day, they're fighting and they're mad because they're taking privileges from them in the United States. And oh, they want to fight to get that privilege back, to just continue hanging on to these heathens, to these other nations, to these other people. Let them go, as he said, come out of her, my people. But the question is, are you his people? Come out of her that you receive none of her plagues. Now they have a rat disease. So the most fine gold is changed. Second Ezra 5:8, it says, and the women give birth to monsters. The fine gold has changed. And now the women give birth to monsters. All of this is because we've rebelled. We've turned against ourselves. And now our women are giving birth to monsters. Lamentations 4:2. The precious sons of Zion, and we're not talking about Netanyahu or the European fakers that have hijacked the heritage of the children of Israel, the true seed of Jacob. We're talking to them that are still out and scattered abroad. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold. These are the ones that are now considered monsters. Some politicians call them super predators. At one time, they were regal. They were upright. But now they're just thrown out into the street. Nothing. Destroyed. Isaiah 13:12, it says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold. So we'll return from being monsters and just thrown out into the street, and we'll return to that standard of greatness. But how? You can't do it by continuing to live according to their standards. You can't do it according to their standards. Nothing they have will benefit us. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the greater wedge of fear. Therefore, I will shake the heavens. Something big is going to happen, even as right now, for those of you that are not familiar with Project Bluebeam, I mean, you should check it out. But right now they're releasing UFO files, and they're telling you that, the aliens are real, and hey, they're even, living amongst us. As to where for some decades and ages, they lied. All they do is lie. And you continue to put your trust in liars. Now, all of a sudden, they want to come clean. They're up to something. I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. This is how we're going to be put back into the position of leadership and royalty in righteousness, not corruption. In the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger. In the wrath of the Lord of hosts, meaning when you read these scriptures, you can see what's expressed that's going to take place. And with great detail, how it's going to take place. Just like you can look up into the sky and see, oh, there are clouds. It's going to rain. But your senses have been dulled through their religion, through their institutions and their systems of education. But when you're reading this and you want this even more than you want the treasures that you seek within your carnal life, then you'll be awakened to where you can exercise your senses beyond the carnal nature of how we use them. You'll be able to discern even more the spiritual things that are before you. Lamentations 4:2. It says the precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed to earthen pitchers, the works of the hands of the potter? Do you all see the contrast? We've fallen from being rulers to being nothing. We've fallen, to just being thrown out into the street. We've gone from the sense of the value of gold to a clay pot. He says, even sea monsters draw out the breast and give suck to their young, but we have failed. Our women now are giving birth to monsters because we're not able to teach. Oh, wow. No problem. So the live has been restricted for 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, let me see what it say right here. Your live is not eligible to recommendations. Oh, okay. Oh, they don't want this truth coming out and restricted, in the search. Okay, for 10 minutes. Because your live does not comply with the eligibility standards. Okay, under the, all right. Oh, they say this is misinformation, you all. They say this may cause moderate harm. All right, so I'll go back and give them my feedback on that. Right, so you all now have to share the live out because they say this is misinformation for me to read from the book and give an illustration as to what has happened to the mindset of a people that we can actually see these things have transpired. He says, even sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. He said, but the daughter of my people is become cruel. He said, like the ostrich in the wilderness. Our mothers had not learned how to raise their children as we turn our children to our cell phones and iPads and TVs and these other institutions, and we've forgotten the information that we're supposed to give our children. We've forgotten how to ultimately nurture our children. Thank you all for coming. Right? He says, and give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel, like the ostrich of the wilderness. Psalms 94 and 22, it says, but the Lord is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge. So through all of what they're dealing with and or what they're doing, he says, the Lord is my defense. That means the law or the standard that God have put in place, that's the thing that's going to defend us. That's the thing that's going to keep us safe. That's the thing that's going to protect us. He says, and he shall bring upon them their own iniquity. Upon them, their own iniquity. And shall cut them off in their own wickedness. The Lord our God shall cut them off, meaning the law that's written, the prophecy that's told, within their own evil, they're going to be cut off. They can restrict this live all they want. The truth is going to be told, and it's going to be understood who the imposters are. Your white Jesus, your white God, your white Netanyahu, your white Trump. Oh, y'all done made me mad. All of the Europeans within rulership, they display mannerisms and or behavior of evil, liars, thieves, oppressors. You can restrict this life all you want. Lamentations 4:5. They that did feed delicately are desolate. The ones that were gold, now they're desolate. The ones that had everything, now they're desolate. Do you all understand what's being told? They can restrict this life all they want. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. Do you see what's being said? For those of us that are royalty, we're now dealing on dunghills. You know what we call a dunghill today? The acronym sugar, honey, iced tea, doo-doo, feces. We went from walking in royalty, living according to our heritage, to follow after these other nations, to be on a dunghill. It don't make sense. And you all are fighting, trying to hang on to this oppressor. And his ways. He says, for the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sins of Sodom. Y'all pay attention. That was overthrown in a moment, and no hands stayed on her. Sodom was overthrown in a moment. And no hands stayed on her. You understand how Sodom was taken out. Job 34:20, he says, in a moment they shall die, and the people shall be troubled at midnight and pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. See, a number of you think you got to go and get your arms, and you have to look to be in some great battle or conflict with them, but there's a great thing that's going to happen without hand. And this is why, for them, it's always something that keeps popping up. Now you have a rat disease. That's out. It's always going to be something for them and with them, even from them, that we have to deal with. They don't represent the standard of righteousness. They can't lead the world into peace. Daniel 8:25, he says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Through his policy, you all. And this is what they deal with, because they don't deal with law. They deal with policies, procedures. They function according to their traditions. And thank you all for coming into the live. Y'all just continue to share the live and repost the live. But they cause craft to prosper in their hands due to their policies. They're manipulators. And he shall magnify himself in his heart. That's what he does. We're the best. We're the greatest. Nobody can stop us. Nobody can touch us. And by peace shall destroy many. See, they came to this land in America in peace, and they destroyed many. In that region over there, they act as if they come in peace. They just stabilize the region, and they destroy many. They act as if they want a board of peace, but they destroy many. They don't want peace. They want you to be under their total submission and or control. They can restrict this live all they want. He says, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. So for all that they're doing and for all of their boasting and how great they are and nobody can stop them, they're going to be broken without hand. Revelations 18 and 19, it says, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. Giving the comparison to Sodom and Gomorrah. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. So for all of your greatness and all of your boasting, for within 1 hour, you're going to be made desolate. And then the earth should be able to sing with joy because we would not have to deal with any more of your lies, your corruption. We would not have to deal with the oppression. We can now get some clean air, some clean food. We won't have to deal with the famines and the pestilence and all of this disease. I mean, we can have a better quality of life without you. We don't need you to keep dragging us to an end. Daniel 2 and 35, it says, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain. When they are taken out, and for the way that they're taken out, this great mountain is the government. Listen at what it says and come to understand what I mean when I say this great mountain is a government. Look at it. It says, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Do you think a mountain is going to fill the whole earth? No, it's a government that's going to fill the whole earth. But this government will stand in righteousness. These standards and principles will not be the policies and procedures that they use to cause craft to prosper in their hands. They're going to be stripped bare. Luke 7 and 27, it says, this is he of whom it is written, behold, I shall send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare the way before thee. And this is what we're doing right now, preparing the way. So many of you can't hear it, won't hear it, don't want to hear it. No problem. But the way is being prepared for righteousness to come in to eliminate evil. These Europeans that have maintained superiority will not rule the world. No more. all of the evil, all of the harm, all of the destabilization, everything that they've done, no more. You can restrict this live all you want. Daniel 7:27. He says, and the kingdom and the dominion, now we're talking about the entire earth because right now they're ruling the entire earth. As they say, they're the superpower. Everything and everybody has to go through them. But look at how the entire earth is all discombobulated. The entire earth is off kilter. Nothing's right. Everything is in a decline. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the saints of the Most High. Do you think that's talking about any of these three fools in this picture up here? It is not. But the standards of righteousness will be in the earth. And a body politic will govern the earth based on these principles, based on this law. Not their law, not their policies, not their procedures. No more. Never again. Never again. But when it comes to the kingdom and the dominion, it's going to be given to the people or the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. Why are you upset about that? This is an everlasting kingdom that's no more dealing with the oppression. No more dealing with the lies. No more dealing with those afflictions. But now positioning righteousness to rule in a manner that none of us have seen in our lifetime. But you want to hold on to this corruption. That's a disease within itself. That's an addiction within itself. That's mental health within itself. Whose kingdom shall be an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions, not some, but all dominions shall serve and obey him. All dominions shall serve and obey him. So TikTok, you can restrict this live all you want. This truth and this truth about Israel and who the true children of Israel are, it has to be explained and told and understood that there are people that are imposters. That the state of Israel does not represent the true children of God according to what's written. Nothing they do is aligning to anything that I've discussed today. Nothing that I've read out of these scriptures from this book. He says, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Meaning that standard of righteousness, that rule, that governing body. Right now we have a governing body that's ruling in wickedness, corruption, evil. You all don't want that to come to an end. You want to keep saying, yay, Trump, and make America great again. Y'all crazy as hell. Looking at what Netanyahu and the state of Israel is doing and what the UN is doing and how these Europeans are disrupting, destabilizing the entire earth. You can restrict this live all you want. But all dominions are going to walk within righteousness, you all. That's the end of the matter. Then he says in Luke 19:17, oh, listen, y'all listen to the Jesus that they don't talk about in Christianity. And we're not here to deal with any man's religion. I'm not talking about Christianity, Catholicism, or Judaism. We're looking at the principles centered around righteousness that we can get rid of the corruption. That's the only thing that can beat them. Not your munitions. You beat them with the standards of life. You beat them with righteousness. The one thing that evil cannot survive is righteousness. So they do everything within their power to make certain you don't understand the principles to live by. Because if you catch on to the principles in order to live by, then you have no more need for them. They're false promises. They're broken promises. They're false hope. Keep hope alive, Jesse Jackson said. America gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Lies. But he said all dominions are going to serve in righteousness. But look, he says in Luke 19:27, he said, but those mine enemies, meaning those of you that still love the corruption, those of you that resist wanting to stand in righteousness, you're the enemy. Like for those of us that want to deal in righteousness, they call us the enemy. He says, but those mine enemy, which would not that I should rule over them in righteousness, because you all want to keep living according to your corrupt standards and continue to bring the earth to a halt through your disruption, through your decadence, through your abominations. He said, but those mine enemies, which would not that I should rule over them correctly? Like y'all love being ruled in error? He said, bring them here. He said, and slay them before me. Oh, they don't talk about that, Jesus. They don't mention this one. He said, those that don't want to deal with righteousness, bring them here. Lamentations 4:10. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children, because we have talked about these men and their corruption and their need for correction. So now we look at even our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, and we should uplift our women. And we should uplift our women through correction. We should give our women praise through correction. Because something is wrong, not only with our men, but something is wrong with our women. He says, the hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. because our women have not understood what needs to be taught to the children. And the enemy understands that in controlling the nature and or the manner of the woman, then you control the nation. If our women were strong in their understanding to teaching these laws and these principles to these children, and we didn't have them inundated with iPhones and iPads and all of the social media nonsense, we'd have a different nucleus within the standing of our families. Men could be raised in according to a standard to be men. We would understand, even as we deal accordingly with other men, how a man is supposed to protect. But he says, the hand of the pitiful woman have soddened their own children because she's not teaching them. She sends them off to be taught. He says, they were their meat in destruction of the daughter of my people. Our women are crucial to the survival of our nation. Number 11, he says, the Lord have accomplished his fury and have poured out his fierce anger and have kindled a fire in Zion, and it have devoured the foundations thereof. Like, because we're so disobedient, the concept of our righteousness, we've walked away from it, then evil has overcome us even to rule us. This is the anger of righteousness, then turning you over to corruption. Oh, you don't want righteousness? Then get a taste. You don't want to eat honey? Then eat dung. You don't want righteousness? Then have a taste of evil. Eat the dung. He said, the kings of the earth and the inhabitants of the world, meaning all the other people, would have not believed that the adversary of the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. Now you have imposters in the land. The adversary, they're in the land. As we talk about the truth about Israel, because the true people and the children of Israel, they're still out there. Forgotten about, not talked about, because you have somebody else parading around as the state of Israel as if they represent righteousness. But they don't. He said the sins of the prophets, the iniquity of her priests, now talking about these liars right here. They have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. That's what they do. They come in the name of peace and they destroy. Isaiah 42:21. The Lord is well pleased with righteousness. Y'all understand? The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He shall magnify the law. This is all I've been talking about. A standard of life, a way of governing. Beyond their policies, their procedures, their tradition. This law in righteousness is the thing that if we live by it, it destroys them. And they know it. So they do everything they can to hide it and continue conditioning people to live in accordance to their corruption so that they'll never have the strength and or power to deny them. It's a different type of addiction, but it is an addiction, one that you need to wean yourself off of. If you're good enough to go cold turkey, I encourage you to go cold turkey. But you need to realize it's an addiction. It's a sickness. But for the sake of righteousness, he's going to magnify his law, which is going to be different than their law, their constitution, their body of politics. He's going to magnify his law and make it honorable. Again, I added that part. Again. Because right now, we've forgotten about that standard, that law, that way of life. He said, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. My people, we have been robbed and we're spoiled. No good. Destroyed. Like I said, we're under an addiction. We're going through this addiction. We need to pull ourselves away. We've been robbed and we're spoiled. He says they are, all of them, snared in holes because we're following after the other nations. We're living according to their policies, their procedures. They don't do things according to no law, you all. They function off of policy and procedure, and that's what they call law, like they call civil right a right when it's a privilege, like they call the right to vote a right when it's a privilege. They call these privileges, they call these policies and procedures law. But this is nothing, but their tradition. It's not law. In the guise of law, maybe. But their policies, their practices, their procedures, it's not law. So for that, we're snared in holes. He says, and they are hid in prison houses. Y'all act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Just go ahead. Deny the volume of truth that these words are speaking as it pertains to what we're going through right now in this land of our captivity and the corruption that is before us. Thank you all for coming into the live. He says they are a prey. Don't they call us vulnerable, at risk communities? And we're vulnerable and at risk because we don't live according to the law being magnified. We live according to their policies, their practices, their procedures. We're chasing after their tradition. We're begging them to give us a power to vote with them outside of, come out of her, my people. The question is, are you his people? That you receive none of her plagues. And now we have a rat disease. That's the latest conversation. He said, they are a prey, none deliver. Nobody's coming to deliver us. No nation, no other people is coming to save us. How long have we been in this condition and or state? and no one has stood up for our people. They just look at us, laugh at us, spit on us. They do nothing honorable to assist us in our affliction. But they all benefit off our backs. None deliver. He says, for a spoil. None say restore, meaning, you know, these people have been done wrong. Return to them all that you have taken. But no, the evil man is not going to do that. The liar is not going to tell the truth. He says, who among you will give ear to this? See, I'm not talking to everybody. As we go through the truth about the real Israel. Who among you will give ear to this? Because the children of Israel are still out there and they have nothing to do with a state of Israel right now in the Fertile Crescent, which you call the Middle East. Who will give ear to this and understand we're being misguided rather, through corruption, through their evil. We're being guided or misguided by their policies and their procedures, under their traditions. And some of you are preparing yourself to celebrate 250 years of decadence. He says, who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who will give Jacob for a spoil? Now he's going to explain what he did to us as a people, because we want to be like them. We want to act like them. We want to celebrate when they celebrate. We want to run their government. We want to be in anything they do. We're fighting to maintain European superiority against our own interests, just so we can get some crumbs. But he said, for this people, who's going to say restore? You may not even understand what restore is, what position it puts you in. Restore. What is he talking about? Something had to be taken if he's saying it needs to be restored. Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord say, I told you when I wrote this down, when I made it an express will, I told you. If you adhere to my voice and obey these standards and live your life this way, he said, I'll keep you on high above all the nations. You can run the earth. He said, but if you abandon these things, he said, then you'll be down low. You'll be at the bottom. So when you're asking yourself, why are we in the position that we're in? It's because we've abandoned the highest principle of life, that we should rule the world, just to follow behind them to run their government in corruption. And y'all know it's corrupt. But you keep trying to act like something good gonna come out of it. The only good is gonna come is when it's over. He said, did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? See, we have sinned. We have transgressed. We have went against the thing that was given to us. And because we have went against our own interests, we suffer. He says, for they would not walk in his ways. As he said, if you live according to my commandments, if you obey my word, you'll be on top. You'll be the head. This was the agreement. Oh, but we thought we could bypass the agreement and still have greatness. They would not walk in his ways. We want to walk in their ways. Neither were they obedient unto his law. This is what you've been hearing me talk about. This is the initial problem. Obedience to law. We're trying to fight and give obedience to their law. And in giving obedience to their law, to their standards, to their policies, their procedures, to their traditions, then we suffer. We're oppressed. We're afflicted. We got bad food, bad water, bad air. Our lives are declining. There's global warming and climate change. All of these things are happening because we refuse to live according to the righteous standard. Oh, you all can argue all day long about religion. I'm not talking about anybody's religion. Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, you could throw all of that in the trash. But these standards pertaining to who God is, what God is, and what a righteous son stands for, and who a Jesus or Yahshua truly is, it has nothing to do with their religion. It has nothing to do with their narrative. It has nothing to do with their institutions. You can't learn this in their seminary schools. 2nd Ezra 16, 2nd Ezra 15 and 16, it says, for there shall be sedition among men. Listen at this, y'all, because we don't want to follow after the ways of righteousness, because we don't want to be obedient to the law of righteousness, but we're striving to maintain the law of corruption and or unrighteousness or that which is wicked. Because we're fighting to keep that alive. We're mad. We're mad to keep them in power, position, and or play. But when we talk about turning to righteousness, we don't want to do that. So we're fighting to maintain the corruption. Go out and vote. We need more power. We need more delegates. No, what we need is for this madness to end. That we can reestablish ourselves according to the way of righteousness. I can't help that you don't understand, for a number of you, what that is. And this just doesn't make sense to you. But I get it. But there are a number of you out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He says, for there shall be sedition among men. And this is what's happening right now. And invading one another. This is what's at the border within our cities. It's already happening within other regions in the world, but this is coming to the good old U.S. of A. Sedition among men. Invading. Because we don't want to live by the standards of righteousness. And invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor their princes. Like, nobody's going to have any regard for any government, any king, any prince. The standards of evil will become even more evil. He says, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning just that. Folks will go about to establish their own way of corruption. Just to have a small sense of power. Psalms 104:35. Let the sinners, all of those that don't want to deal with righteousness, for those of you that love corruption and you just want to dwell in that just for a little time and for whatever you can get out of it, let the sinners be consumed out of the earth. That's my prayer for all of you that don't want to deal with righteousness. Every last one of you that do not want to deal with righteousness, that do not see that there's a law that stands to benefit us all, and you want to keep going after their customs, their traditions, their policies, their procedures, and you don't stand for righteousness. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth. Let the wicked be no more. What more needs to be said? Everybody should want that the wicked is no more. Who wants to be wicked? Maybe some of you do. Excuse me. Who will, in their mind, say, hey, I'm looking for some wicked people to hang around? If you ever meet somebody like that, you need to get the hell away from them. Unless you are that person and you're like, I mean, I get it from that standpoint. But there are a number of us within our right mind. We don't want to deal with wicked people. We despise wicked people. If you despise wicked people, just put a 1 in the chat. So we look at Habakkuk number 1 and number 9. It says, they shall come all for violence. This is the wicked. If you despise the wicked, just put a 1 in the chat. They shall come all for violence. If we're dealing with their policies and their procedures, their traditions, we're going to see more violence. I like that. Cry loud, don't spare one. Okay. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather the captivity as the sands. All they do is go around and colonize, oppress. He says they shall scoff at the kings, meaning for those of us that were great and had stature, they laugh at us. They talk about us. He said, and the princes shall be scorned unto them. They don't give a damn about who we were and what we were. We're just a joke now. They shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. Now that they've captured us or they've subdued us, they've laughed at us, they've demeaned us, they've diminished our power and position. Number 11 says, then shall his mind change. Now he's like, look, I don't want to do this to you, but what I'm gonna need you to do, like with your Ben Crumps, with your Jesse Jacksons and your Obamas, President Obamas, these are the people. He says, look, I'm going to need you to talk to your people like this. I'm going to need you to tell them that. I'm going to need you to deal in this manner and or this way if you want to live. Oh, and I got a purse for you. Here's a bag. I'll let you live delicately. I'll let you have the good things. I'll give you a bigger crumb. Your morsel, it'll be so great, they'll envy it. But that's what I'll need you to do, because right now, I've taken as many lives as I can take. I need these right here for whatever the intent and or purpose is, but I'm going to need you to handle this business for me. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend. He don't care about who we were and what we were. He's going to pass over and offend, imputing this, his power, unto his God. Let me give you a minute to think about that. Because within the corruption and within the evil, they have their God. As you hear all the people say, I want to thank God. Oh, it ain't the God that you think it is, because they're not living their life according to a righteous standard. Imputing this, his power, unto his God. So I'll just take you real quick to Luke 4:6 so that you can understand who his God is. Being a deceiver. We call it a devil. And that's what they do. They deceive. They lie. They cheat. They steal. And they've trained us to be just like them. But his God. Luke 4:6, and the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee. And that's what he said when he changed his mind to the likes of a Jesse Jackson, Obama, Bill Crump, Al Sharpton, and Oprah Winfrey, and all the other sellouts. All this power will I give unto thee. All the glory, all the fame, you'll be known. For that is delivered unto me. This is his God. And whomsoever I will give it. So you can have power in their world. And it looked like success, y'all. But I don't want a corrupt success. I don't want success through their wickedness. But a number of you, you don't care to distinguish the difference. You just want money. But he said, all this power will I give thee. That's his God. And he's going to give you all the reward and all the power if you do his bidding. He says in number 7, if thou wilt serve me, if thou wilt worship me, he says, all shall be thine. This is why we need to distinguish the difference within this world, what's transpiring, because you guys hear the word God and you just don't understand, for a number of you, how it's been conflated. There are different gods. I tell you this, they're not talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but they are talking about this God right here that says he's going to give all power and glory to them that will serve him within the standards of corruption, within the ways of wickedness. And for that, you too can be powerful. Proverb 2:22. He says, but the wicked shall be cut off from the earth. They don't have that much time. And this is why I'm telling you, make America great again. It's a vain slogan. 250 years, you can celebrate it all you want. This thing ain't going to last. The earth can't continue in decline. The earth needs to heal. People need to heal. Everything needs a break from this leadership, from their way of life. Their God needs to go into the dungeon. The wicked shall be cut off from the earth. Who don't want that? Some of you want the wicked to continue ruling the earth. And you think Trump is on the side of righteousness. You think Netanyahu is on the side of righteousness. You're into idolatry through Christianity and their lying version of who a Jesus is, and all of these statutes and all of this Catholicism. It's idolatry. In the guise. Oh, they love to do things in the guise, in the likeness of, in the guise of righteousness. But that's all they can do is imitate it. And they use it to trick the world. They use it to oppress the world. They took the heritage of a people and they used it to oppress the world. He says, the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. Those that don't want to follow righteousness, you're going to be rooted out of this world. There will be no room for you in this world. Like right now, there's no room for righteousness in your world. You have a temporary stance. And for a good reason, though. So that we can look at this record and understand why we say never again. Not like they mean never again, but never again to the corruption. Never again to wickedness. Never again to unrighteousness. Never again to their policies, their procedures. Never again to the ways of other nations in wickedness. Psalm 40:8, I delight to do thy will, O God. Wait a minute. Now we have to understand what is that will of God. That will of righteousness. That standard or that law of life. I delight to do thy will in righteousness. O God. What is a oh God if it's not righteous? And understanding it's not a name. And I'm talking to you about hidden meanings and understanding how to use these words that you can apply them to your life this day. You can't apply an oh God to your life when you're talking about doing a will. We have to understand in the will what it is we're trying to do. We're trying to do and we need to achieve righteousness. I delight to do thy will. As you talk about, oh, the will of God, the will, you haven't put, for a number of you, any substance to it. The will of God is centered around righteousness. Now, how do you do it and or what is it? Where do you even come to understand how to align yourself with it? Well, he tells us. I delight to do thy will, O God. Yea, thy law is written in my heart. So in order to do the will of God in righteousness, it has to be according to that standard of law that promotes life, not their standard of law that promotes death. Revelations 20 and 14, he says, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, meaning all of this deception and the corruption is going to be done with, as he said, rooted up out of the earth. For some of you, you can't fathom that. You think they're going to be in control forever. No, the transition that's happening right now is one from corruption or wickedness into righteousness and being upright. And it says the second death in hell were cast into the lake of fire. He says this is the second death because some of you say there is no death, like life just goes on and on. Well, for those of you that cannot recognize what righteousness is, you're going to receive a second death. You're going to be trapped within your corruption. He says, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life, as we talk about a law of life and a law associated with death, as we talk about his will being associated with the law associated with righteousness, as we look at that law of death being associated with their policies, their procedures, and their traditions, they have a book of death, which is going to be cast into a lake of fire, meaning it's not going to exist anymore. It cannot stand with eternity, immortality, perfection. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life, according to the law of life. For those of you that refuse to do righteousness, you're not in the book of life. For those of you that can't see righteousness, you're not in the book of life. For those of you that cannot pull yourself off of the addiction, you're in the book of death. Psalms 94 and 19. He says, in thy multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul, meaning this law that you have, this law of life, this is the thing that comforts my soul. This is the thing that should comfort your soul, even in this time of calamity. Although we haven't received the full gift of righteousness just yet on the earth. And it's a struggle and a challenge for anyone that wants to deal with righteousness. Oh, they're not going to make it easy for you. He says, in the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. Then he says, shall the throne of iniquity? Shall we want to deal in righteousness and also want to deal with them in their corruption? He says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? He said, which frame mischief by law. They frame mischief through the statutes that they write, that they call law, through their policies, their procedures, as they go about sanctions and embargoes, and international law applies to everyone but them. They frame mischief in the name of law. So for righteousness, do we have fellowship with this corruption? Telling people to go and vote for it? How about you vote for liberation? How about you vote for righteousness? He said they gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn innocent blood. This is what they do in the name of policy and procedure, in the name of their tradition, guiding the pen on thousands of pages of statutes that they call legal. And they go and promote and convince you that it's legitimate, meaning proper, appropriate, and just. They create mischief in the name of law. It's corruption. It's evil. It's wicked. It has no room. It has no room for the standards of humanity. We see what they do. And what they do, it doesn't promote life. Working my way to the end. 2 Ezra 15:18. He says, for because of their pride, because of their pride, and for a number of you, because of your pride. Your pride. You can't subject yourself to righteousness. You won't correct yourself. You won't deal with the introspection that needs to be done. You want the world outside of you to change and not understanding the world inside of you has to change first. You have to become the change that you want to see. He said before, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. As long as we deal with their laws, customs, and traditions, the cities are going to be troubled. The world is going to be troubled. He said the houses shall be destroyed. Men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity on his neighbor. And this is what's happening, and this is what's coming to a city near you. Oh, and I'm not looking to push fear. I'm not pushing hate. I'm pushing the understanding centered around this way of life that they've nurtured us through. This is what it brings. And it's written. I'm just that messenger. I'm trying to give you the sense. What they're not giving you within your religious institutions. Because they want you to think it's just going to be love and kisses and hugging, and that's what we need to solve the world's problems. I want you to be prepared and come to understand your salvation is centered around righteousness. Knowing a different standard and or law in order to subject yourself to, in order to have it, to be recognized by it, not by them, because they don't recognize it. He said, but their houses shall be destroyed. He says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. He says, but they shall destroy their houses with the sword. This is just more war, more sedition, and spoil their goods. Like a number of you're trying to save up and store. Well, this here is saying someone may very well come and take your goods, or you may not even be around to protect it. So all of what you have done would have been in vain, but to and or for somebody else. He said, and spoil their goods, because the lack of bread, as we're finding what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz, and no gas and no fertilizer, and economies collapsing, and this is going to cause people to lose their mind. And they're going to be looking for food. They're going to be looking for just the basic things in life. Because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Oh, we haven't seen nothing yet. And for all of us that are here in the United States of America living so comfortable, we haven't seen the great tribulation yet. But we get a glimpse of it through what's happening in Sudan, and what's happened in Mali, and what's happened in Gaza, and how they're dealing with Iran and all of these other places. We get a glimpse of it. Oh, it's just, hopefully you're able to understand the need to prepare. Number 20 says, behold, saith God, behold, saith what's written. Behold, say the law, say the prophecy. If you pay attention. He says, I will call together the kings of the earth to reverence me, meaning you're going to acknowledge righteousness whether you want to or not, because there's going to be so much tribulation and or turmoil, it just won't be able to stand anymore. Only place we will be able to turn is to righteousness, unfortunately, because we're not a people that wants to deal proactively. We're all just so reactive. So it just comes to that. You won't be able to have the comfort of a Walmart. You won't even know how to fix and or change your clothes when they become tattered. He says, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, meaning all over the world. Now, the children of the righteous, as he said, they will be sanctified before the face of all the other people. He said, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against the other and repay the things that have been done to them. They're going to reverence righteousness, looking at all the things that they've done in this world to the innocent, to the righteous. These things are now going to be recognized. But they're going to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them, meaning all of those that have dealt in corruption. It's like that corruption, they're going to turn it on to themselves. And for all the things that they've done to the righteous, it's like they're going to find themselves being caught up in those same scenarios where they tried to govern it for so long just to deal and to do it to a specific people. It's going to backfire. 21 says, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, to the righteous. You can act like you don't know who the righteous is if all you want. But there is a people, as we talk about the truth about Israel. There is a people that's still out there, scattered abroad, oppressed, afflicted, still in lands of their captivity, no strength, no power. As we talk about the truth about Israel, it has nothing to do with the state of Israel, their policies, their procedures, their corruption. He says, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom, thus saith the Lord God. Thus say what's written, that it is in the prophecy. They're going to get it. They can't escape it. In Christianity, they don't want you to talk about it. Oh, let's not talk about judgment against the Europeans for all of the corruption and all of the loss of life that they've caused all throughout the whole planet. No, let's not talk about that, because white Jesus is coming to save them and keep them in power and or position. It's not true. Joel 3:7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whether ye have sold them. Read that again. He says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whether ye have sold them. And the way we're going to be raised up out of the place is first understanding the standard of righteousness. I'm telling you, that's our strength. That's our superpower. They know that sin or transgression is our kryptonite. That's why they give it to us 24/7. It's on demand. How much do you want? As long as we function within transgression, as long as we deal with their policies and their procedures and we follow their way, they know that's our kryptonite. He says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whether ye have sold them. Y'all act like, some of you, like slavery never happened, like it don't exist, like it's still not happening right now to this day. Whether ye have sold them, because the children are still scattered abroad, and to this day you have Arab nations that are running human trafficking organizations around the world and still selling people to this day. Even the children of the Most High God, who don't know that that's who they are. He says, I will raise them up out of the place whether ye have sold them. Even as we're right here in this land, having been sold. And have forgotten who we are. And go by other names. But this is the truth about Israel. And we're not talking about the state of Israel. Out of the place whether ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your head. They don't want to talk about this in Catholicism, in the seminary schools. Because it said, for those that have taken us into captivity, it said they're going to go into captivity. Oh, that's the judgment. That's what makes God a righteous God. That's what makes what's written true. That's what makes prophecy prophecy. Oh, it's inevitable. And this is why they're fighting and doing everything they can to resist it, because they know they're going to have to deal with the recompense of their evil. Isaiah 42:1. He says, behold, my servant. Who is his servant but those that focus on righteousness? You can't be a servant under their policies, procedures, traditions, and their laws and ways. You can't be his servant because you're serving their God. When you're upholding their business and you're running their government, you're serving their God. But he says, behold, my servant. You can't live in their system and be his servant because they won't let you. Behold, my servant, whom I uphold. And I know a number of you would like to argue that, and you want to think you can do both. Behold, my servant, whom I uphold. He says, mine elect. Everybody is not his elect. Everybody is not his elect. And just because you confess with your mouth that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, don't make you his elect. Those are all lies according to the religion to uphold European superiority. It's good that you confess with your mouth that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, but you need to do according to the law of righteousness. You can confess all day long. If you're not doing according to the law of righteousness, then your confession is vain. What are you confessing about? Confessing what? You're confessing to their God. You're confessing to their policies, their procedures, their traditions under their education. He says, mine elect, in whom my soul delight. His soul delight with those who delight to do his will according to his law in righteousness. If you're doing that, then his soul delights. He says, I have put my spirit, my word, my way upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. This has different meanings. Because that judgment that's going on to the Gentiles, one being those of us that have gone so far astray that we can come back into perfectness. And that other judgment unto the Gentile, which is that recompense to where for those that have taken the innocent and or the children of righteousness into captivity, that now through righteousness, they're going to be taken into captivity and absorbed, and or the evil shall be no more in the earth. That's captivity for them. To deal with righteousness is captivity to the unrighteous. Revelations 20:10. And the devil that deceived, that was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. That's talking about them and their God. They're the ones that deceive. That's what a devil is. It's just a deceiver. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, meaning eradicated from the world, no more. The second death is what it said. He says, we're cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast, talking about these other men, and the false prophet are. Ooh, y'all don't want to deal with that. Where the beast and the false prophet are. The beast being the man, and that false prophet being, I'll be nice, being their standards, their the traditions that we talked about, their policies, them telling you This is the way of life based on their financial system, the economics. I mean, this entire world that they have set up. Because it's not centered around righteousness, it represents the false prophet. And white Jesus too. I couldn't help myself. I had to get it out. And shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Isaiah 42:4. Isaiah 42 and number 4. He says, he shall not fall, he shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment in the earth. Judgment is going to be set in the earth, you all. What they're doing, I don't care how many munitions they create, it'll be to their own demise. When they say no weapon formed against me shall prosper, this is saying when we stand in the degree of righteousness, nothing they have will be able to hurt us. But we haven't learned that power yet. We haven't been to that school yet. We haven't had those lessons yet. Because we've been too confused and or too entrapped within their monologue, their media, their entertainment, their frequency. But that frequency it's now shifting. We're moving into a high vibration. That higher vibration is total righteousness. Unadulterated. He says, he shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Meaning all of the people that have been scattered abroad, it's like they're waiting for this righteousness. They're waiting for the collapse of evil and corruption. We should all be praying for it. Lamentations 4:14. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. Yeah, we all have eyes, we can see and we know what's going on, but a number of us, we're blind in the streets, walking around, don't even understand their economics as you all are talking about building black banks and creating generational wealth. You're blind. We'll never have generational wealth in their corruption, through their corruption. We'll never have a black bank in their system. I know some of you think, oh no, we got one, right? Killer Mike got one. These guys have the guise of an institution. The Europeans still control it. They still have the charters set up for it. And if they get mad at them, like Kanye and like so many others, they'll take it away. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood. We have polluted ourselves through their understanding. And because we live like them, we cause harm. For some of us unintentionally, but yet and still it happens. He says, so that men could not touch their garments. Meaning nothing that you have to offer will be able to help anybody. Maybe in a carnal sense. They cried unto them, depart ye, as he said, come out of her, my people. It is unclean, depart, depart. Touch not. When they fled away and wandered, he said, don't touch it, don't do it. But they went away and they wandered because wanted to be next to these people. these other nations, and said among the heathen. So here, an elect and or chosen people to stand in righteousness have now said among the heathen, as they've been scattered now and they've wandered amongst that heathen, they shall no more sojourn there, meaning we ain't got to deal with the law of life. We ain't got to deal with the God of Israel. We here to work with y'all. We want black banks. We want what you want. Yeah, we want to move around the world and we need to control, and everybody need to be under democracy, and we don't deal with the law of life no more. They shall no more sojourn there with righteousness. So we suffer, y'all. It's just that simple. It says, and so it says, the anger of the Lord have divided them. Let the truth be spoken. See, I say, we're not powerless. We're just not organized. The anger of the Lord have divided them. And when you're divided, you can't have no power. That's what they're doing with the gerrymandering right now. Dividing even more to make sure you never have power in their system of democracy. Oh, you thought they was going to give you a seat of power in their world? No. See, their world is the corruption and evil. Your world is that of righteousness, but you don't want your world. You're saying you don't sojourn there. He says he will no more regard them. We don't have any protection as long as we're under their rule. He said they respect not the person of the priest. You don't respect righteousness. They favor not the elders. He says, as for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help. Do you know what a vain help is? Building economics within their system is a vain help. Thinking you can govern and run within their institutions, that's a vain help. He says, in our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. This nation of people can't save us. Their way of life will never benefit us. It's vain. Anything we do with them is vain, you all. You better understand how temporary it is and know what it means to be in the world but not of the world. They hunt our steps, number 18 says. Say it ain't so. The drag nets are perpetual. They hunt our steps. We cannot go into our streets. Pay attention. These are the words they don't read to you in your Sunday school. These are the lessons they don't teach you when you get your minister papers. You don't hear this in the seminary schools. They hunt our steps. We can't go into our streets. Our end is near because we won't turn to righteousness. We'll never have any power through their system of corruption. Our days are fulfilled being wicked, meaning we'll receive the reward of the wicked, and all we're ever going to get is oppression. That's what we deserve for continuing to try to be like them and or uphold their system of corruption. You want to keep telling people to go out and vote, then you're telling people to enjoy their oppression. It says, for our end is come. We'll never have power under them, through them. We'll never have generational wealth. Our persecutors, number 19, are swifter than the eagles of heaven. They pursue us upon the mountains. Wherever we go, whatever we do, like in the world and from this city to that city, we're pursued. They pursue us. They lay wait for us in the wilderness. As I said, no matter what city we're in, they set traps for us. And as we talk about the truth about Israel, not looking at the state of Israel, but we're talking about the true people that do exist that have been forgotten about. Hosea 5:15, he says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. Have we acknowledged our offense just yet, as you all are wondering where God and why God? And he's like, not until you acknowledge your offense. Not until you want to discipline yourself according to the standards of righteousness. I ain't going back and forth with you. He says, I will go and return to my place until they acknowledge their offense. He says, and seek my face. He's saying, until you seek righteousness. Until you seek righteousness. That's seek his face. He says, in their affliction, they will seek me early. When you don't have nowhere else to turn, then you'll come to understand that their way has nothing to provide for you. As we talk about the truth about Israel, and we come to understand it has nothing to do with the state of Israel, but there is a people that are truly associated to the name and to the heritage that are still out there, that have been basically forgotten. And the state of Israel has given the name and the heritage of this people a bad name. Lamentations 4:20, he says, the breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits. Remember, he said the gold is turned dim. He said the gold is now the gold is now diminished to a earthen vessel, pottery. We've been taken in their pits, meaning we're now living after their lifestyle. So we have nothing. The anointed of the Lord was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. This is what we said. As we're in their traps and as they hunt our steps and as we're in their prison houses, we still want to be under the shadow of this nation, of this evil and or wicked people. And we convince ourselves that this evil is better than that evil. How about we just don't deal with evil? How about we stop convincing people to accept evil and act as if there's something noble and or righteous in it. And these are the last few verses. Jeremiah 17:5, he says, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusts in man. You want to be under their shadow? Then you're cursed. You're not going to have prosperity. You're only going to have oppression. And whatever they want you to have and whoever they want to give and make examples out of, cursed be the man that trusts in man, his policies, his procedures, his way of life, and you abandon the law of life centered around righteousness. Cursed be the man that trusts in man and make flesh his arms. See, if you think their military is going to give you strength and or protect you, cursed be the man that trusts in man and make flesh his arms, and whose heart depart from righteousness, and whose heart depart from the Lord, whose heart depart from the law of life. Isaiah 32:4. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge. The heart of the rash shall understand knowledge. And the tongue of the stammerer shall be ready to speak plainly. And this is where we are right now. We're ready to talk plainly about what this righteousness is, plainly about introspection and changing ourselves and coming to understand that every man must be persuaded in his own mind. I can't change you. You have to want to change you, and you need to understand no religion of theirs is going to help you change. It said the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. Not Christianity, not Catholicism, not Judaism. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul, meaning that law of life, that standard, that principle, that way of governing. If you want to vote, vote for righteousness, that we can have a government centered around righteousness. Five, it says, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, because you got the left being the liberal, and they just as tricky and dishonest as those that are on the right, being the churl, evil people. The vile shall no more be called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. It's up for them. It's over for them. And all of you that do not understand this is the time to pivot, then you will receive the reward of the wicked. We're dealing with the truth about Israel and getting you to know that there is a people that still exists, that's out there, and they have nothing to do with the state of Israel. Lamentations 4:21 as we come to a close. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Who is that? What is that? Because we don't use terminology like Jacob and Edom and Amalek, and we don't use terminology like that no more. The children of Israel, but the children of Israel are still here, like the descendants of Edom are still here. They just go by different names. That helps to disguise the deception. Oh, daughters of Edom. There they go. He said, rejoice and be glad, O daughters of Edom that dwell in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through thee, meaning you had your fun, you had your run, it's over. Thou shalt be drunken as they are right now, in deceit, in their pride. Thou shalt be drunken and make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished. Y'all think America gonna be great again? While you getting ready to go out and celebrate 250 years of oppression? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, meaning they're going to get their judgment. And white Jesus is not going to be able to save them, and all of that you all talking about, the love and the hugs and the kissing and all this stuff, these writings don't say that. These writings talk about a great tribulation before we get to the world of true peace in righteousness, where they are removed from power. There will be no Christian nationalist. There will be no white Jesus sitting on a throne. There will be no Christianity, Catholicism, or Judaism. He says, thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked, meaning everyone would then understand your sins, your transgressions, your corruption, who you are, O Edom, because don't nobody seem to know who you are right now. A majority of people, right? I know some of you do. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. So here, even for us, the punishment of our iniquity is accomplished. As we move out of the wickedness, I use that verse right there to show twofold. As we move out of our wickedness to then come back to the position of glory and righteousness. The punishment of our iniquity, meaning we walked away from the law of life. And all of the oppression and the affliction that we receive for doing that, it comes to an end as we stand for righteousness. Here he says, O daughter of Zion, we will no more carry thee away into captivity. Right? He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. You see that? O daughter of Edom. He will visit thine iniquity. He will discover thy sins. Isaiah 32:6. Okay? Isaiah 32:6. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. This is what they do. And to utter error against the Lord, to utter error against righteousness. They want us to adhere to what they say, not to the law of life, but to what they say. To make empty the souls of the hungry, those that truly want righteousness. And he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail, meaning for those that want to be quenched within the understanding, he's going to give you that sugary drink that will just never quench your thirst. Like you'll always be searching for something and you'll never achieve, and you'll always be going after something and you'll never get it. He said the instruments also of the churl are evil. He devised wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. As we look at their policies, their body politics, their Democrats, their Republics, their left, their right, their democracy is filled with lying words. Even when the needy speak right, even when those of us that are not in a position, we come to talk about what is appropriate, what's proper, what's just, they don't want to hear that. He said, but the liberal devise liberal things. Can't trust them either. And by liberal things he shall stand, such as offering you those civil rights, which were temporary, and that Voting Rights Act, which is temporary because it's not a right at all, offering the Great Society, a 50-year promise which was broken and never delivered. These were things that the liberals offered. He said, rise up, ye women that are at ease. And as I said, we need to give thanks. We need to give praise to our women in correction. We need to understand the need to change. And if our women change, everything change. He says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, because the women have to teach righteousness. The women are the first teachers. These are the ones that hold that young male, that young daughter. But if they don't know what to put in their ear, then we're in trouble. He said, rise up. Hear my voice. Ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Don't be complacent because they give you good jobs. They give you great education. They make you feel so good about yourself in their corruption. Rise up. It's time to rebel against corruption, against the lies. Don't let the gift that they've given you destroy your heart. You say, what gift? What are you talking about? Ecclesiastes 7:7, it tells you oppression should make a wise man mad, but the gift destroys the heart. And that gift is, they did all these things for you, so you think something's okay with it. That all of what they've done, it has destroyed your heart to where now you can't see, where he says, rise up. Ye women that are at ease, hear my voice. He says, many days and years shall ye be troubled. They've split the household. They've captured the mind of the woman. So for many years and generations and ages, we're troubled. He says, many days and years ye shall be troubled. Ye careless women. What makes you careless is that you're listening to the oppressor. You give more honor to the oppressor than you do understanding how to maintain your family, how to raise a child, male or female, giving them the instruction of righteousness. You teach them the denigration within corruption and evil and their policies and their practices. And when you send them off to their schools, and I understand this is like really all that we have available to us, but we have to do better. Even knowing what it means to school at home, because it's coming. Ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail. Meaning, if we don't function according to the heritage and according to the law of life, all of that glory and regalness and all of that strength that we know we had, it fails. And it starts with our women. It says, the gathering shall not come, this part. And this is the last verses I go to Zephaniah. But he said, the gathering shall not come if our women don't rise up and stop placating to these Europeans within their superiority. If they don't rebel and come to realize what they need to learn in order to teach each other, the children, that you can raise a man up in the way and know the manner that he should go. The gathering is not going to come. The end will be set within the destruction of the wicked. That doesn't take away from the elect. But this is the call to say to those women that are at ease, rise up. He said, for the vintage shall fail. The gathering shall not come if our women do not reposition themselves. A lot of you are familiar with the Willie Lynch letter. I mean, you can get all into that. Well, this is where they get it from. Zephaniah 2 and 1 and Zephaniah 2 and 2, and we're done for today. He says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. Well, he said, the gathering will not come if the women do not rise up. But he said, gather yourselves together. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together. O nation not desired. We are that nation not desired, that we look for our vain help, that no nation will come and save us. No one has come to say, restore, replenish, help this people. We're that nation not desired as we talk about the truth about Israel. Not the state of Israel, but the true people that are still out there, scattered abroad in the lands of their captivity. He said, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, before the decree. And this is what I was saying. The women need to rise up. If they don't, the gathering don't come. And the reward is going to be in line with the wicked, meaning you'll be destroyed with the wicked. That's not talking about the elect, because the elect cannot be fooled, cannot be tricked. But here, he says, "O nation not desired." Y'all just pay attention to what I'm saying. Before the decree brings forth, before the day pass as the chaff, meaning the destruction come, and you have become comfortable in the oppression. Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. They don't talk about that in Christianity. To them, there is no fierce anger of the Lord. It's going to be hugs and kisses. These are all lies. But this is telling us, gather yourselves together before that day come. Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. Before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. And this is why our women need to rise up to better manage and maintain the nation. If the women don't rise up, the gathering will not come. And a number of people, aside from the elect, will receive the reward of the wicked because our women are comfortable. They're okay. They haven't chosen righteousness. So I want to thank you all for coming into the live. And I hope it was edifying and that we've come to understand the truth about Israel. And that it has nothing to do with the state of Israel and the lies that they've told, the heritage that they've stolen. But yet, we're talking about a people that are still scattered abroad, still dealing with the oppression and the affliction. And I want to thank you again for coming into the live. Most High willing, we'll be back. I wanted to say the link to the YouTube channel is on the page. You go right under where it says Saturday, at 11, and you click that link. It'll take you to the YouTube channel. You can watch all the other videos that are there. All right. Appreciate you all and enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom. I hope you all come back when we do it again.